Rise, let us rise and come forth with our ancient committee and adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Ya Allah abnu heru makunetaru, Ya Allah abhat heru, Ya Allah ma'at heru, Ya Allah hotep heru, Ya Allah heru, Ya Allah ma'at herakuti, Ya Allah ahojet juti, Ya Allah per im sutek per im heru, Ya Allah bamaduti. Al-Hajj Shepsis Ray, Abtu Ali. Amin. Halias, Halias, Halias. And that is the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Aliyasa, Aliyasa, Aliyasa. Islam Moorish kin. And now we come forth before you with the divine constitution of Moorish America, salvation, our God, unity, the 7 supreme constitutional acts of law. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs. If he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The Bylaws, Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. On a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. His divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened, according to the Triune Acts, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conforming to his will. Shemotepu Moorish King.
Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Divine Minister Dr. Diane Carter Bay, my ancient Canadian name is Dr. Danger Ali of her debate. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1, and I give honors to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening us up according to law. At this time, I will be reading our chapter of the week, chapter 49, coming from our Holy Quran. And it reads, the unity of the rich and the poor. The man to whom Allah hath given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. He looketh on his wealth with pleasure, because it affordeth him the means to do good. He protecteth the poor that are injured. He suffereth not the mighty to oppress the weak. He seeketh out objects of compassion. He inquires into their wants. He relieveth them with judgment and without ostentation. He assisteth and rewardeth merit. He encourages ingenuity and liberty, promoteth every useful design. He carried his own great works. His country is enriched, and the labor is employed. He formeth new schemes, and the arts receive improvement. He considers the superfluities of his people as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune. He rejoices therefore in riches, and his joy is blameless. But woe unto him that heapeth up wealth in abundance, and rejoiceth alone in the possession thereof, that grindeth the face of the poor, and considereth not the sweat of their brows. He driveth on oppression without feeling. The ruins of his brothers disturbeth him not. The tears of the orphan he drinketh as milk. The cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief is distress. No grief or distress can make impression upon him. But the curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. Oh, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison with the knowing of this man's heart? Let the poor man comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sitteth down to his morsel in peace. His table is not crowded with flatteries and devourers. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependents, nor teased with the clamors of solicitation. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escapes also their diseases. The bread that he eateth is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drinketh is not pleasant to his thirst. Yea, for more delicious water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. His labor preserveth his health and procures him a repose to which the dainty bed of sloth is a stranger. He limiteth his desires with humility, and the calm of contentment is sweeter to his soul than all the the acquirements of wealth and grandeur. Let not the rich therefore presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty. Ye are to despondence, for the providence of Allah dispendeth happiness to them both. Islam, Islam, Islam. Again, I am Dr. Dinger Ani Akurtabay. Today is July the 22nd, 2023. We give honors to Dr. Dinger Ani Akurtabay for reading our chapter of the week. We give honors to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening us up according to law. Again, we want to welcome everyone to our most respected class, sponsored by our most American government. Our host for tonight's class is our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Sadu Amindi L. Suel. His subject for tonight is the benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. A Moor rejoices therefore in riches, and a Moor's joy is blameless. Also, family, don't forget to check your emails for the link, as we will be going live. And at this time, we want to turn everything over to our National Assistant Grand Chief, our host. We want to turn everything over to our National Assistant Grand Chief. Are you there, Godman?
Islam, we're definitely on the manifest, Goddess and Queen. Can you hear us loud and clear?
Islam, I can hear you well.
Islam is gratitude, Goddess and Queen. Islamism without the schism. Want to rise upon the seventh and with the seventh and give praises to the great God Allah, our Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem. We give honors to our national flag, divine constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything, and I do mean everything, that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. Want to give honors to our grand body of executive rulers and everybody that is on the manifest in this new era and time to do the work that they have been called to do on the individual level as well being the collective. You know, all of us have gifts of the understanding that are brought forth from the treasures, you know, of the great God, our ancestors, and so forth and so on. All of us have something to add on to the measure. We just have to do that special part that we was born to demonstrate. We have to acknowledge what our purpose is. And once we find out what our purpose is, then we can be effective, you know, in bringing about the solution to the problem, because we already know what the problem is. We already know in plural what the problems are. So we are here to solve the problem. We problem solvers, you know, and so that's what these measures that we bring forth are dealing with. You know, we're not here to merely just complain about our conditions and complain about our plight, you know, and talk about basically the suffering that we've been through over and over and over again without being able to come forth and change our condition. You know, so if we are to change our condition, then we must change the way that we think. You know, if you want to change a people, then you have to change the literature. You have to change their understanding, you know, based upon that in which they thought they had understood, and bring them into a clear conception, you know, of the reality of their plight. Because if people don't know that they are under the oppression of slavery, if they don't know that they are under the boot of oppression, so to speak, then they think everything all right. You know, they think, as the West would say, hunky-dory. You know, they think that They ain't got a worry in the world because all is well, right? But on a higher level of vibration, we understand, the concept of Stockholm syndrome, pardon self, and the effects of slavery and what they have on our people. Our people have been, in a state of war. There has been a war going on within the heavens as it relates to our people since we've been here on these shores. When I say heavens, you already know I'm talking about the heavens above your neck, your head. There's been a war, a battle for the hearts and minds of our people since we touched these shores. Right after they had been, taken advantage of by, the slave maker, slave breaker, slave catcher, slave holders. In so much so that our people have now, received these garbs, these hand-me-down garbs of thought, and they have now become the new slave maker, slave breaker, slave catcher, slave holder. So it's a self-refueling ideology, as the Willie Lynch teaching, our doctrine will speak of. And whether some believe the Willie Lynch doctrine is something that is fact or fictional, all we got to do is look at the condition of our people, because it played out just how, the document said it would. So that would give credence to something to be heard of. So we are here to break that curse. And the breaking of the curse has to do with the basically reverting our thought pattern back to our divinity. You got to remember, though, when you hear us mention terms such as Allah, we're not demonstrating Arabism. We're not thinking with Arabia. As our Moorish Holy Quran teaches us, do not think with Arabia. I think not with Arabia. You see, you thinking with being Moorish American Muslim. And the term Allah, that may offend some people that have no knowledge, and that really has to do with their ignorance and what they have been told, because we have proven, and nobody came forth to try to debunk, on numerous occasions, that the term Allah existed before Saudi Arabia. You see, the term Allah, exists within not only the realms of Kemet, but also in Sumeria. So this name predates, and we got, primary source material. All you got to do is go look at some of the history. But we're not here to get into the history of the name. We're just saying that for those who may have a misunderstanding, and going off of what somebody told them as opposed to what they actually know. See, everything we tell you, we can direct you to this. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the Allah within us. That's a great difference between the Allah that most people have been taught about, because they think that Allah is somewhere outside of themselves. Remember, you are part of the universe. So if you say, well, everything in creation, you have certain things outside of the cosmos. No, you are the cosmos. You consist of the same material. So that's still within yourself, even though you may look at it from an illusionary aspect of looking outside of the self. And this key that we understand is because this is going to allow you to understand the unity between the rich and the poor. At the essence of those who are the haves and have-nots, as they would call it, there's this force that scientists like to refer to as a vital force, or the force of vitality. We call it spirit, or spirit man. No matter whether you have $1 million or you have, not 1 cent, it is the same spirit, that is at the essence of the being that allows us to thrive. And so what we have found is that our riches, picking up from our last measure, are within us. And until we recognize that this, the riches and the wealth that we look for is within the self, we will not be able to tap into anything else when it comes to riches and wealth outside of the self. In other words, we have to become, rich in our thought pattern. I remember reading a book years ago, Think and Grow Rich. You see, why are we able to think and grow rich? Because we come from a rich thought. But we have to understand, what riches really represent. You hear us talking and say all the time, well, the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah. And all of us have that. So that means all of us have access, to this wealth. This is true generational wealth that it can be passed down, generation after generation. We ain't preaching to you up here. What we talking to you about is economically sound. You see? And the only reason you hear preaching because you hear Allah and you thinking religion. But when you understand that Allah represents the essence of God within you, you see, that's why we speak of in the Moorish Holy Quran, when we talk about the unity of Allah, man, we talk about spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah. So in essence, you are the treasure box. Your riches are within you. Now we can go deeper and say, well, if you want to go into every different text, we can utilize either name you want to utilize. But at the essence of all day, when we teach, it's still within the self. When we speak of Neter in ancient Kemet, which is often translated as the great God. Now, if you go into our 101 keys that was brought to us by Prophet Noble Ali, he said himself, that the name, what is that name, that we refer to the great God as in some time, right? At times, what is the name that we refer to the great God as? The great God is Allah. Allah is the great God. Where in Kemet, they'll tell you that Neter, since a lot of people have faith in certain transliteration and translation, they say, well, Neter means the great God. So the great God is within you. The great God pervades the cosmos. The great God, it manifests itself, through everything in creation. So once you understand that, that's what make him great. That's what make the supreme being great. The supreme reality, right? It ain't got nothing to do with, focusing on things that are outside of the self, so to speak. And once we understand this right here, then we come into a grand, special drawing, of the supreme reality. And I want to say this when I want to make myself clear when I say this, family. We can say the same thing utilizing, the name of the deity through the Sumerian text. We can say it dealing with what we call the Bhagavad Gita, of the Hindus. We can say it, dealing with the Dhammapata, and the teachings of Krishna, the teachings of what we would call the I Ching, Confucius, whatever you would like to refer to that as special force is, it don't matter to us, as far as dealing with the doctrine, because our teaching allows us to draw from all books of truth. But once we come to a clear conception of the work that we were called to do, then we realize we are the book and we are the truth. The truth is in us. The truth is in our book. We are the book that the truth resides in. Well, we say, well, that truth is God. Well, that means if you true, then you got to be God. You see, that's the greatest wealth that we can have. Why? Because when you think on this special level, you transcend man-made fallacies. And then you understand how you are a creator of your own conditions. And then you understand, well, if I'm a creator of my own conditions, then I must govern what I create. You see? So we must be able to govern what we create. And this is how we able to demonstrate our attributes as a God man, our sisters as a God woman. And we don't even have to put the gender on it and say God and goddess. It's just God, whether you're dealing with the masculine or the feminine. So we don't get caught up into none of that. So when we go into the essence of understanding that our wealth resides within our treasure box, we are the treasure box, and the treasures are above our neck in our ability to think, will, reason, understand, and remember the source from whence we come. When we're able to get into that special aspect of thinking, then we can create what we will, and we can govern what we will. And we won't have to worry about somebody else outside of us trying to govern us. You see, this is called self-determination. You see, this is the greatest gift of the understanding that is within the treasures that the great God has placed within us. The problem is that we as a people have suffered so much under the hand of oppression to where we believe that we cannot determine a thing for our own good. We cannot determine a thing for our own benefit. Some of us are afraid to think free thoughts. All we know was slavery. All we know was suffering. All we know was oppression. All we know was being taken advantage of, and so forth and so on, right? And this is why we have a problem with comprehending our reality as it relates to our own empowerment. It is because we don't understand that we are the embodiment. It's in our very DNA coding, to be masterminds and free thinkers. And most of our free thoughts have been hijacked and usurped, by those who have been our oppressor. They made you believe that if you give up that free thought, that creative thought, and you showed it to them, you shared it with them, that y'all would become friends. You see, and this would make your condition better. You could come amongst them and mingle with them in their secret societies. You can sit down and have a cup of tea, or some coffee. Or some people might even like fire, the fire spirits, and whatever the case may be, whatever the hang up is, you cannot be friendly. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali said a friend will warn you, by the way. You cannot be friendly, in a situation where you see somebody had a boot of oppression upon your neck, trying to crush your larynx, so you can't even speak the truth. You see? And some of our people are in a state where they have been checked by that. And that's why we had a subject matter on the manifest that we have. Pay attention to it now. It's flowing across the bottom of the screen right here. And we're going to get into it. Look at what it says. What does it say? It says the benevolence, right? We know what benevolence, there's an age of benevolence right now. We in that age. The benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. A Moor rejoiceth therefore in riches, and a Moor's joy is blameless. That's a powerful demonstration. What do we mean by this? We have to understand what benevolence is in order to comprehend this. The benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. In other words, we can look at fortune. In some cases, some people think fortune represents luck, on what it is they may gain or what they may not gain. Some people look at fortune itself as wealth. You see? And who is controlling the wealth. If I don't act a certain way, then I ain't going to receive, what it is that I seek to receive, so to speak. If I don't tiptoe through the tulips, if I don't kiss somebody where the sun don't shine, if I don't act right, then I won't become wealthy. This is the mentality that our people have. No, you got to claim that demonstration. You see, you got to proclaim it and accept it, and this is where your true riches and your true wealth come from, family. But you know, most of our people, again, have a have not mentality, a hand me down thought pattern, you know, and they don't look at them offering their services to other people, you know, as a partnership, so to speak, or as them being a CEO in their thought pattern. They look at it from the standpoint of, you know, I got to go along to get along. And if I make the wrong move or say the wrong thing, then, you know, it's going to be some problems. So this is where one's benevolence has become checked by them being fortunate or less fortunate in their own mind. They have created a boogeyman. You know, if I don't act this way right here, then they're going to take from me what I need in order to sustain myself. If I don't act this way right here, I can't have this position, you know, in Rome's, you know, human work factory that we call a job. If I don't act this way right here, if they find out that I know what I know, you know, so this is where one's benevolence becomes stifled, meaning being able to exercise the characteristic of it. If you can't do it, because you're thinking like a slave. And a slave master, slave maker, slave breaker, slave holder know a slave when they see a slave. They know the characteristics of one, you know, that is in an enslaved state of mind. Even though you may dress them up, you know, you can put them on the finest garb. You can put them on expensive garb, as a lot of the world like to try to run after. You can put them on diamonds and pearls, or whatever the case may be, right? But nevertheless, the mark of a slave can always be identified, you know, by what it is they display of their inferiority, despite the way that they may garb themselves. So there are plenty slaves that are wealthy on the manifest, but they are poor when it comes to having the strength to stand up in the face of adversity and stand upon their own principles, even when the world opposes them. See, this is the type of cowardice that has been bred in the mindset of the slave. They have been broken in their ability to think. They have been broken in their ability to will a thing into existence, to reason, to understand, to remember, you know, that all of this belongs to them anyway. So when we are suffering from this type of illness, mental illness, it is, you know, then we need some healing. And how can we be healed, save that we have a physician that is sent to us? You know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a physician that was sent to heal the hearts and minds of our people, whether people like it or not. This man literally died and gave his life for his people, but death was not his enemy. Death did not end his work because he's still working from the plane of soul. 100 and some odd years have passed and we are still speaking of his name on a daily basis. This is how you become immortalized. This is how you open the doorway to perpetuity, so to speak. Perpetual life. See, no matter how much we leave here physically, the principle remains. The teaching remains. So each and every one of us have a purpose to manifest our saving power. So what is the saving power that you have to bring to the people? If the people are poor and the people are in need, then what is your wealth? What is your riches? Have you found them yet? And if you found them, then you should be able to aid and assist, you know, in that aspect. Now, people think that wealth, you know, and riches is always dealing with what we call fiat, a reserve note, you know, some type of physical monetary amount, so to speak. But in all actuality, true currency is found within your divinity. Even if you go into all the teaching, every teaching will tell you this right here, no matter what book you go into, you know, you just have to be able to understand and comprehend it from that aspect. And I'm saying this is because most of our people have been taught, that, wealth is their savior. Wealth has become their God. You see it right there on the dollar bill. God, Government Ordinance Department. In God we trust. They ain't talking about Allah. They ain't talking about the God that's within you. You see, they ain't talking about the God that you think you believe in. They ain't talking about no Jesus. You see, they ain't talking about no Yahweh, or Yahuwah, Yah, or Jah. When they say in God we trust, they saying trust in them. They saying trust in the God that face is on that dollar bill. If you don't believe me, go look up, God as it relates, to those who say that they are part of Masonry. And there are principles that are referred to as wisdom, strength, and beauty. But if you go into the Hebrew, or even the Greek, so to speak, actually, Gomar, Oz, Debar, God, wisdom, strength, and beauty. This is what they would tell you God represents. Gomar, G, Oz, O, Debar, beauty, wisdom, strength, and beauty. So have you found wisdom, strength, and beauty within yourself? Because we got those attributes and then some. We was teaching that before they ever thought about it in a lodge. In our Moorish Holy Quran, we teach that wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Huh? We also teach that we ought to become in order to become the strength of Allah made manifested in the flesh, we have to become strong by our thought, our ability to think. Then I say think and grow rich, right? So that's the wisdom and the strength in our Moorish Holy Quran, but where's the beauty? The beauty is being able to bear witness to this within the self. So that's the essence of you being who you are. This is what we mean when we talk about the holy unity of the rich and the poor. What do you think it is? That holy unity represents the God in you. When you are able to see the God within your brother, within your sister, within your people, and look beyond what it is that you think you see, what it is you think they believe. You see, what it is you think that they have that is greater than what you think you have. Because it's all a part of the thought. You are only as rich as the way you think. If you think like a poor man, you will be a poor man. If you think like a rich man, you'll be a rich man. That's why you have to surround yourself around that special thought, and you can manifest everything it is that you can be. Why do you think it's so easy to manifest that negative reality and it becomes our reality? The reason why is because we put our soul energy into it. Anything that you put a lot of meditation and contemplation on, it will manifest. And you ain't got to do but think it one time. But just because you thought it on an earnest level, so to speak, and that you really feel this within yourself, this is how you manifested that. So if you manifest, again, a have-not mentality, that's all you're going to deal with. You can't blame nobody else for that but yourself. You manifested that thought, not somebody else. Did nobody tell you to go to thinking that you can't have this, or you can't be this, or you can't be that? Ain't nobody standing over you with no gun to your head saying, I say you better think the way I say think. And if you're easily persuaded, by those thoughts outside of the self. That's you who choose to serve gods outside of the self. And we call that polytheism, the worship of many gods. See, when you are dealing with harmonic thoughts or the harmony of thoughts, this is where we are able to come into the reality of our totality. We see our beloved goddess and queen just put a measure out here. Sister Sakina Ra, honors to you, goddess and queen. She say, we are one, you and I. We say you and I tie a lot of time, queen. Unity, you and I tie. Unity, a major part of the universe. And our beloved goddess and queen, most definitely, that's a powerful drawing. Once we able to understand that, then who is there that can destroy our universe? In most cases, it's us that destroyed. If I go back and look at every situation that unfolded throughout our history, and every time it was one that rose up on the manifest, it was always somebody amongst our people that was willing to take 30 pieces of silver. So you can't blame nobody else for that but us. So somebody made you believe you was a have-not, and so they said they was going to make you somebody by giving you something that you never had. If you'd only betray yourself. Because when you betray your brother or your sister, you're betraying yourself. You see? And this is what comes forth. This is what manifests. This is what a lack of unity, allows to take place. And Rome has built itself up based upon the consumption of nations and their resources, based upon somebody that was amongst any particular people that they were dealing with that was willing to take them 30 pieces of silver. So if you want to know why it is that our people are still lollygagging, why they still dragging chains, why they still left behind, running like a hamster on a wheel, nowhere fast. If you wondering, it's because there are those who want to be the new slave master. So they don't mind to be the slave maker, slave breaker, and the slave catcher and holder. They say, well, if we can't beat Rome, then we might as well join them. I want to be the new Judas, who seeks, to bring about the demise of the Messiah. And the Messiah, represents a station that goes beyond, just a biblical narrative. There's a political agenda behind the destruction of a Messiah, one who has the ability to electrify, who has the ability to ignite the hearts and minds of the people. And there are many among our people, no matter how many you lynch, no matter how many you hang. And a lot of our people should go read the book 100 Years of Lynching. And you can see this stuff, graphic things. But none of this has stopped us from reproducing gods, reproducing, other grand ones, so to speak. You see? Our queen say, if you break it down in metal netta, king is you and I. That's right. If you break it down, that's exactly what it is. And that's why I keep telling our family a lot of this stuff has to do with, encoding, codes, anaglyphic formula that is telling us about ourselves. You are the walking circle 7. On a higher level, we know that the circle 7 represents the pole star in the north, and it represents the big dipper and little dipper that's rotating around it, i.e. a symbol of our flag. That's why we'll tell you, well, our scimitar within our flag represents consciousness. The 5 principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, represent the principles within the heart. So before there was an actual banner in the form of a flag, we were the living manifestation of the principles. So consciousness represents a gift. Consciousness is a treasure. You see, an international treasure when it comes to our people. What do I mean by this? I'm saying that there's nowhere that you could go moving throughout the planet where our people are not there, and there's not some greatness that has not been produced by our people. So there are international treasures when it comes to the consciousness of our people, but we've just been serving other people. We've been giving our talents to other people, allowing them to pimp us and prostitute, all of that which is sacred about us, and sell it back to us as a generic brand. And then tell you it's luxury. So we buy it. So that's how they're able to get away with it. But at the end of the day, when we are able to recognize who we are and the origin from whence we came, the source from whence we come, this is where we are able to set the hearts and minds of our people on fire with love and holy zeal to be themselves. But if they don't see the success and the succession, so to speak, if they don't see this success in succession, backed up by what it is you say you stand upon, then most of our people, will forever scoff at the truth. They will not be in acceptance of what it is that you say and you demonstrating, because we're living in a time now where we're talking about fruition. Wisdom is our gross national product. Every other nation has its gross national product, but wisdom is our gross national product. And it speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Anybody that is telling you that our ancestors didn't demonstrate spirituality, then they are robbing you of your divinity. If you allow somebody that is atheistic in their thought to tell you that when they are not sure of what they are demonstrating themselves because they are ungrateful, an atheist is somebody that don't believe in themselves. In my book, because God is within the self. We're not talking about a spook outside of the self. Your riches and your wealth is in yourself. You see? That's what we talking about. We ain't trying to take you back 2,000 years ago and romanticize on what took place then and can't identify on what's going on now. Our people heard that and they done that for years. We are showing you how we are the return of the ancient ones. So just as I said, you are the walking circle 7, you are the walking manifestation and the embodiment of all truth. This is why they tell you, well, in the Bible, they say Jesus was the word made flesh. Muhammad was the walking Quran. As we say, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the 7th of the time. He was the circle 7 of this era and time. In other words, these men were the message that they brought. So whether you believe that they existed or not, we ain't getting caught up in that. We know Prophet Noble Drew Ali existed. So that's not an argument for us to go back and forth on. We ain't trying to take you back again 2,000 years ago, because he say, I'm Yehoshua, will come again. So this is the one that came in this era and time to uplift us, the first to ever teach along these lines, the first to ever teach us anything about our nationality and our divine creed, the first to ever proclaim himself to be an Egyptian adept master. And say that you had the power to do the same thing. He wasn't greedy. He wasn't selfish with what he was demonstrating. He said, let me demonstrate for you, bro. I'm putting it in modern terms. But once I get through demonstrating for you, bro, or sister, I'm giving you the opportunity, to take the wheel, so to speak. Now you do the same thing. There's one hadith that I read where Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke of, what he came to do. And he said that he would have to depart. Just as Yehoshua, Jesus said in the Bible, he got to leave, a comforter would come. But he said that he would repeat himself. That was a key word to me. He also said that if he didn't leave, that his coming would be in vain. This is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said in his, oral statements. He also said, Rome had him 2,000 years ago, but he got them today. And like we say, he spoke of a time when he was Buddha. He spoke of a time when he was Noah. He spoke of a time when he was Muhammad. In other words, he is speaking of his spirit being attached to these many different climes and times throughout the cycle ages. That's why we measure time by cycles, because we are dealing with the emphasis of the paradigm shift. You hear a lot of people like to talk about evolution and evolutionary unfoldment. But we state as man unfolds, his God unfolds. The God that he knows today, he may not know tomorrow, because he is unfolded out of that special state. It's not that that God wasn't a reality, but one goes into a greater understanding, a comprehension of the reality of who that God is. So we all started in elementary. You see, we had some kindergarten in us as well. But once we begin to evolve and unfold, we begin to see things, throughout the spectrum, so to speak, at a greater degree of unfoldment. And so, when we understand unity, family, we will see the same truth no matter where we look. But we have to be willing to see that truth. We have to be willing to look through the lenses of unity. Unity is not just mere uniformity, looking like you demonstrating unity, but in all actuality, your hearts and minds are as adverse and in opposition as the sun is to the moon when it comes to the type of bodies that they are. We ain't talking about the light that the sun shine on the moon and it reflect that light. Because if we're dealing with that, we talking about order in the cosmos. We talking about truth and right. We're talking about unity and harmony. It's the only way. Every civilization that has failed or that has risen was based upon that dynamic. A lack of harmony or the abundance thereof. And it's a pendulum that swings. One nation may come forth in abundance. One may fall into a lack of the abundance. And that's just dealing with time and paradigm shifts. So we evolve. The more we know, the more we grow. At every level, there's a greater devil. So you're going to have some opposition. You're going to have some pushback. You're going to have some haters. You see, this is just all a part of the territory. In every book, where there was one that was demonstrating that Heru degree, there was one demonstrating that Set degree. In every situation where you had one demonstrating heroism, so to speak, from the heroism aspect, there was somebody that was demonstrating the villain. So it's the balance of creation by us being here in the plane of things made manifest. The question is what part of the books are you fulfilling? Instead of reading the books, as just dealing with some historicity and reading about a Jesus, reading about a Moses, a Muhammad, or whoever. What about entering into that special consciousness? Put yourself, in the place of the one that you're reading about. Put your master teacher into the place of what you're reading about. In other words, what I'm saying is you have to find yourself within your own text or the context of your own life, so to speak. You see? Again, we carry the truth everywhere we go. The God essence is within your God head. Good thoughts. Good thoughts, God thoughts. Good thoughts, God thoughts. Huh? So once we're able to comprehend that, family, it ain't no getting around, the wealth, so to speak, to be obtained and be gained. Now, there was another portion in this subject title dealing with the benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. You can't control me with no wealth. That's basically what that means. A Moor rejoices, therefore, in riches, because you're rich. And a Moor's joy is blameless. That means you ain't got to be feeling guilty because you had to step on your people or step over your people because you was money hungry. You had to mistreat your people because you think it's all about getting to the bag, as the young generation would say. You see? So the benevolence of a Moor's mind. What does Moor mean? Moor has many roots. It has roots that deal with the land. It has roots that deal with the man. When you deal with man, you're talking about love. In ancient Kemet, the root is mir. When you remove all the vowels from the word Moor, you get M and R. And if you go into Kemet and you move the vowel from the word mir, M-E-R, you have M and R. But there are words that actually come into the English that can be traced back to ancient Kemet. We already proved this, so I don't have to go into this again. All you got to do is go through my videos. I got a whole video, 4, 5, 6 of them, talking about this stuff. So Moor means love. Huh? So the benevolence of a Moor's mind is love. Love is not checked by fortune. When one truly loves, we ain't talking about love again that somebody fall in. You don't fall in love, you rise in love. Let's get that understood. So the benevolence of a Moor's mind has to do with the love they have. So you can't check them. If I love my brother, I love my brother. I love my sister. I love my mother. I love my father. Can't nobody check me with no wealth to make me betray my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. Impossible. But if you are checked, by what you perceive to be wealth or what you think you don't have, then you service do anything. We seen people. I seen a story of a young brother, they say killed his mama behind insurance fraud. All types of crazy stuff, an insurance policy, a life policy, insurance policy, so terrible, but when you have received all it is that you have in wealth, be it physically, mentally, and spiritually, and you received it based upon the love thought, then you don't have any regrets. You can enjoy what it is that you have been able to acquire. But when you had to be cutthroat, backstabbing, conniving, and all of that, you can't sit down and rest in peace because you're waiting for somebody to come to do to you what you done to others. So a Moor in their joy is blameless. They are not rejoicing and celebrating eating, drinking, and being merry while their people are suffering, a true more not. And this again has nothing to do necessarily with physical wealth, but it has everything to do with being wealthy within our consciousness, and then passing that wealth on generationally to those who are coming behind us, family. So we got a grand work to do. People, I remember in my youth, there was a time I took a sacred vow, and that sacred vow I took was to love my people and teach my people. And if so shall it be the will of Allah, die for my people. You see? So we here to live for our people more overall. Because in all actuality, if we do the work and the work is grand, then we pass that demonstration down, generation after generation. And we begin to unfold. We plant seeds, not always looking to see those seeds come up out of the soil into fruition, so to speak, but we plant them with intent of knowing that they will unfold. Because certain things that we are demonstrating now, just being frank with you, it will be the young and not yet born that will come through and complete the work that we are called to do. So we got to learn how to pass the work on to the next generation. That's a part of the work, wealth. That's a part of the holy unity of the rich and the poor. You see? We can't take a station with us. We can't take our leadership with us. We can't take our influence with us. But we can lead these things and allow someone to unfold and become greater and take the work that you had been yet to complete and take it to another measure. I always speak about brother Salahuddin, who was fighting, the Europeans and so forth and so on. Very respected. Respectively, they write about Salahuddin, Ayubi. The brother was so powerful in his character in battlefield, he would give gifts to his adversaries, gifts to the enemy. He would go and meet them and show them what it means to demonstrate honor. This man was the epitome of chivalry, and what it meant to be a knight, or what they call in the Arabic, the Ikhwani Muslimun. The brotherhood of Islam. We ain't talking about no terrorist organization. In other words, Salahuddin, what I liked about the brother, and they in the book Kingdom, not book, but movie Kingdom of Heaven, they tried to express his character in the cinema. I go back and I watch that movie all the time. But Salahuddin was, also considered a Moor on another level. But the thing is about Salahuddin, there were those who came before him that was trying to seize certain places, and they was trying to establish certain things. I remember one of the teachers, I want to say the brother Nuruddin, that had came before him. He wanted to put a minbar, in a particular place. Once he had conquered it, he was not able to do that. There was a couple of them that came before Salahuddin that wanted to do certain things. And when he came behind them, he was able to accomplish not only taking certain cities and occupying those areas, but he was honorable to the Christians. He was honorable to the Jews. They was able to live in peace. This is one of the times where we will have a renaissance, so to speak. There are many different periods throughout history where it was demonstrated, though. Even with Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, he demonstrated a show of unity, unbeknownst to many people. Even when we deal with the aspects of the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Mehmed, the conqueror, when you talk about the golden age, You know, and you know, all of this here, the age of wisdom, the house of wisdom, all of this came out of the wealth, the riches are the greatest of oneself. And that's why we are able to read about it historically now. So, what is it that we will leave behind? What is it that we will bring to the manifest? Huh? That's the question that we have to ask. Once we're able to deal with this here family, you know, all is well. And we have already did the work. We see our family just gave us a drawing on taking the street organization, the religions, and our people that are dealing with, you know, all these different groups or whatever. We have already put that out there and proposed that to our family, trying to bring them together at many different levels and degrees, but our people want to do what they're going to do. The problem with that is a lot of them think that's free thinking. So they don't want nobody to tell them what to do, you know, so they can't become wealthy as a result of their thoughts because they have become greedy in their thought. They have what they have and they don't feel like they need anything else. And so you can't aid in the system because they don't feel they can progress because they think that they have already arrived. But there's going to be a rude awakening that's coming on the manifest. And I've been talking about this recently. For all of our people that have been rejecting knowledge. You know, there's a measure in the scripture where it talks about my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And we always tell you, you know, it ain't the lack of the knowledge because there's plenty of knowledge there, but it's the knowledge of the truth that our people don't have. And so if they have not reached the thought pattern to become thinkers, you know, if they are moving on the level of sheeple, so to speak, then it's going to be some dark days ahead. So we are called here. We are gathered here today. In many more days to come, we're going to come together and demonstrate the same thing to bring the solution. Because we done dealt with the problem. We already know what it is. So we ain't here to browbeat you over the head with it. We know what the problem is. We're talking about action, thought, activity, being the message that you bring. If you want to uplift the people and you say that what you about, then let's uplift the people. If you want to build a nation, if you want to build along the lines of self-determination, let's demonstrate self-determination then. You see, because the time for philosophizing, you know, and romanticizing and just talking about it, you see, has come to its level, you know, of stagnation, so to speak. Been there for some time, but, you know, the time of talking is over with. We are interested, you know, in our people that would like to bring their talents into their own Moorish American government, their own Moorish American nation, you know, and manifest that to aid and assist your people. We already got the methodology and the plan because we got to do this, family. Don't nobody else want us. Most of our people that got that welfare recipient mentality, and I can talk like that because I come up out of that type of demonstration. But most of our people that have that hand-me-down, have-not mentality, family, they have become complacent in having someone else do for them what they can do for themselves. And this is the same question that come forth to us within the Moorish American government. Rather than saying, let me bring my talents forth and let's build. You know, you come with your hands out. What is it that you can give me to thereby show your proof, you know, that you care about me because you gave me something physically. You give me something materially. And if you don't give me something physically or materially, then, oh, that means that you don't really have no care for me. Well, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it like this. He said, don't burden my morals. So we don't come into this government having our own intent, to be a burden to each other. We come here with unity in heart, unity in mind, oneness. That's what we're talking about. So once we're able to demonstrate that all of us got talents, let's stop playing. We got people in here, that can build things. We got people in here that are architects. We got people in here, that know how to deal with, cosmetology, so to speak. We got people in here, man, that like to cook. We got people that can do a whole lot of things. They got a lot of talents now. The only problem is we haven't come together to pool those resources. You see? And draw from the strength of that unity. It's just that simple. When it comes to the manifest, but we do know that food, clothing, and shelter are the last 3 of the 12 crown jewels. You got to have yourself some knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We got to have yourself some love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. Once you got all that, then you can get into dealing with food, clothing, and shelter. That's why they say, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added unto you. We ain't talking about no heaven outside of you. We talking about above your neck. In other words, learn how to think, and everything it is that you seek will come to you. I'm telling you, family, you got to meditate on the thought. Now, some of our people get upset when we talk, but we talk about independence. Where you got to stop being dependent, on others. When I say others, I'm talking about others outside of us. You see, some of our people get scared. Well, how we going to do that? They ain't going to never let us do it. They're going to try to kill us when we dying daily. What you think, they going to kill you harder? What difference do it make when you're already dying daily, family? They're killing you mentally, physically, and spiritually. So what you scared of when it comes to that aspect? Because that's what most of our people, think about it. I always use the example of our brother Martin and Malcolm. Them people don't care whether you militant or peaceful and passive. If you're a threat, then you can become a target. But are you going to live your life forever being scared? When the same fate you can meet, regardless of what. If you know that the Most High, the great God, and the ancestors is leading on, you ain't thinking about nothing like that. You're going to speak truth to power. You can stand up in the face of adversity like brothers like Malcolm and Martin and Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and we can go on, countless other ones. There'll be many that come after us, as we are those who are on the manifest now. We are the ones that actually we await. Like I keep telling our people, man, we could have been born during any cycle age. We could have been born 2,000 years ago. We could have been born 4,000 years ago. We could have been born 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, 300,000 years ago. But we just so happen to be born in this era in time where everything is meant to come into fruition. So that ought to count for something. If everybody else was prophesizing, right? Everybody else was talking about this time that we living in now. And that there was going to be a group of people that was going to rise up. Because there's a tradition among all the teachings that there will come a time that these people will rise up. Even in the Grand Quran, it says you are the best nation. You see? To rise amongst mankind. Or humanity, right? You the greatest to be uplifted in this new era and time. When they talked about the Mahdi, you heard the NOI talk about the Mahdi. They got their concept of what Mahdi is and who Mahdi is. But Mahdi is actually a word in the Quran. It's rooted in the Arabic word al-Hadi, which means the guide. It's one of the attributes of Allah. So whomsoever Allah guides, none can misguide. Whomsoever Allah allows to go upon the path of misguidance, none can guide. Allah is guiding man through the voice of man. So the one who came that was rightly guided and raised from amongst us was Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He was the first to teach us in the manner that we began to demonstrate. Everybody else came up on them as students in most cases. But what I will say is this, unbeknownst to many, they asked Prophet Muhammad, the Arabs, they said, well, who is this one that's coming? How would the Mahdi, what is his description? And he told them, this is an autobiography of Prophet Muhammad. He said, this one that's coming in the last day would not be of, us. This one is coming and he will be of the people of the latter day. He ain't coming during our time. He coming of the people of the latter day. That's us. And I'm showing you through all these different books, every last one of them has talked about the coming, even in the Piscean records of what they like to call the Bible. I keep quoting it. If my people who are called by my name, will turn away from their sinful ways, their wickedness, I will heal them. He referred to him as a royal priesthood. So all of these books and texts are referring to us in many different ways. You see, you that royal priesthood. When it comes to what they were speaking of, you the one that came on the manifest as the great crowd or the great multitude. You see? Once we understand that, then all is well. You see? So this is what we have to reach that grand insight. Once we understand we are whom we await, we are the ones that we came, we are the return of the ancient one. So we shouldn't be looking for somebody else to come save us. You are the Savior. It tells us that in the Moorish Holy Quran. If man look for a Savior, he must look within. Don't it say that in the Moorish Holy Quran? Even if he must look for the devil, he got to look within. This ain't something outside of you, it's in you. That's what the Moorish Holy Quran teach. I don't know about nobody want to just go look for their devil, but he in you though. He down there in your basement. We taught to take that scimitar of conscience and go down there and beat him up every now and then. To the extent that whatever one won't even raise his head no more. Or it won't raise its head no more. Because in all actuality, we know the term Iblis in Arabic simply means one who is in disagreement. A disagreeable one. One who get upset because they can't have their way. That's basically what Arabic defined Iblis as. That became the devil. One with an ego that say, I'm going to exalt my throne above the stars of God. I'm going to be like the Most High. Like it said in the book of Isaiah, when the Shaitan say I'm going to be like the Most High. I'm the one. And this ain't the way that we demonstrate it when we say we one with, this one is saying that I'm the one in the sense that, I sit unrivaled. There's no God greater than me. This is the problem that our people have. And that's why they have that ego. Edging God out. Ego. You see? So this is what we're talking about when we speak of the benevolence of a Moor's mind. It's not checked by fortune. A Moor gonna be loved regardless. Whether he's a millionaire or whether he don't have much, if he really a Moor. See, some of our people, when it comes to them, the way that they deal with our people is based upon what it is that they can get from our people. You see? And that ain't the way to have a relationship, to build a relationship with your people. We got to be self-sustaining, family. All of us have to begin to think on the level of a CEO mindset. When I say CEO mindset, that means we got to think along the line of not being employed, not sitting around just collecting, a monthly stipend, a check that the government send you. If you have the able body to work. If you ain't disabled, you ain't got no business sitting around just collecting. You got to get out there and get it and think on the level of a boss and not a worker. Think on the level of a CEO and not just being an employee under somebody else's, we'll say hamster's wheel. And once we're able to think like that, and we got a bunch of CEOs, we got a bunch of bosses, we can come together, we can put our heads together, 2, 3 heads, is way better than one. And now we can pool our resources and begin to build, begin to manifest. That way we take away the excuses of somebody saying, I got to go to work. I can't make my meetings because I got to work. I got to eat. I got to feed my family, and then go throughout life saying that same thing and still accomplish nothing. Still end up at the bottom of the totem pole because we want to be selfish. So this work is not for the weak. You can't be selfish and say that you want to uplift the self of others. That's impossible. That's the greatest degree of hypocrisy. You see? So it's a grand drawing, family. There was a time though when we deal with the concept of benevolence, and when we demonstrated all the time, we didn't have to think about it because we were living it. It was a time we didn't even have to talk about this stuff. We didn't have to philosophize about it or nothing because we was that. We didn't have to teach no love. We was love. We didn't have to teach no truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's what we got to get back to. We done practiced long enough now, so now it's time to be it. It's time to go into a state of fruition. I know that's what I'm gauging my mind on. Being the truth. Because we must be the message that we bring. We must align ourselves with divinity. And once we're able to do that, anything it is we seek, anything it is we will to manifest, it will be. And the more that we are thinking like this, synced up in the same unity, it makes it even more powerful that we're able to demonstrate this. If you go to my website, Mathino's Archives, I was showing, the age of benevolence. And there was a time dealing with 2,100 years. We could go through a whole 2,100 year cycle. 2,100 times 12 is 25,200. But there was a time that we could live in a whole cycle age demonstrating benevolence. How do we know this? Because we can look at the government that was created by our ancestors in Kemet. And even amongst the Moors who ruled 700 years. That should count for something. So, yeah, it's a powerful drawing, Moors. We give honors to our family, But we have work to do. And we got a short time to be able to accomplish what it is that we trying to accomplish. Because this breath in the body is but a fleeting wind, after the body becomes weak, which is something that is, a reality, unfortunately, when it comes to dealing with us on the plane of things made manifest. So it is the work that we do, our life works, that will outlive us. But you have to tap into your wealth. You got to tap into your reservoir. Get in your divine bag. You know, and aid and assist your people. So it's a grand drawing, family. I don't want to keep going on and on. I can go on and on with this demonstration, but I ain't trying to talk till I get white round the mile. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open this demonstration up, and I'm gonna drop the link as well for our other family that may want to come in as well. You know, if anybody would like to come forth, you are welcome to give your drawing. We're gonna call forth our family right now, our Moorish kin. And so at this time, if there's anything that our Moorish kin would like to demonstrate in relation to dealing with our subject matter, dealing with the holy unity of the rich and the poor, you know, in the ayat from chapter 8, you're more than welcome to come forth and demonstrate. So Islamism without the schism, star 6 your phone, Moorish kin, and bring forth your contributions. Bless the people.
Islam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Islam, Sister Cammy, can you hear me?
No, I have been hearing you in and out throughout your whole demonstration, but I'm having phone problems on my end. You said something about the unity of the rich and poor, and I heard something about unity and love. So can I give a demonstration or a measure on that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Gratitude. And you said you were able to hear me clearly.
No, I hear you real clear.
All right. We'll let Rome play their Roman games of trickery and things like that. All of us here have that third eye vision. So let them play. This is Sister Cammy. I'm in Michigan. I rise, honor, and praise the great God Allah. I honor, sponsor, Noble Drew Ali, official citizens, Moorish here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moorish kin. Unity, and what I've been studying about unity for about 3-4 days now. Oddly enough, is the topic tonight. But peace. People all over the world want peace, and the unity and peace instead of war. I thought about how war, being warlike, hostile, weapons of mass destruction, killing, all of that stuff. It's the nature of the European, but it's not a part of our nature as Moors. Here in the Americas, what can unite us, because we are the rich. We're just plain rich. Prophet says that. But that's a whole nother measure. Just take the prophet's words for it. You're just plain rich. Since we are the rich ones in this whole situation, the unity portion and the peace being one of the highest principles known to man, and being united by peace is what I've been studying on. And we are still fighting for, or not fighting for, but there's still an issue in the Americas regarding those of us that have a drop of it in us, needing equality, freedom, equal, more citizenship, equality and rights is still an issue. And as long as that's an issue, this holy and divine movement go keep on rolling. as far as my phone troubles, um, the other portion was the second life. And one reason why we are just plain rich. Those of us that are here, we're in our second life while we still in the flesh. There are those, like my 85-year-old mother, that is holy and divine, faithful. She will enter her second life while she is out of the flesh. Because the prophet, she Christian, but the prophet got her. She got the prophet in her. That second life, when Allah get hold of her, she's no longer going to be in the flesh. But I know where she will be. I got about a good 30 years in this fleshly form. And whether it's fallen humanity, or what, as long as you got that prophet in you, and you got Allah in you, you are rich. You are the one that's united. This collective is united by the golden cord of love. We are united. 60 million plus in the Americas and the joining islands. If we could just get through to them, as far as the Negroes, Prophet said, don't wake them up all at the same time. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do with them. Well, we done had these teachers for about 100 years or so. So, year 2000, as far as prophecies, it'll come to fruition, and you'll be coming into your own, something along those lines. I heard you mention fruition in your demonstration. The time is now. The dog barking at these characters across the street. They transacted a lot of business across there. But that's none of my business. This Moorish plot right here is mine, or should I say ours. Praise Allah. Gratitude for allowing me to speak.
Islam. Gratitude for the measure, sister. Praise Allah for your measure. Islam. All right. Are there any other Moors who would like to come forth and give their portion? Star 6 your phone. Islam, Sister Curta Bay.
Islam, Dendra Nia Curta Bay. Honors has already been given. I just like to, I concur with my goddess who spoke before me. And this is such a powerful, powerful class. I tell you, it make me go in many, many directions, and just everything that you say. But the one thing that stood out to me when you was talking about how our ancestors and things, how they got along back during that time. And, a lot of times we like to think that, we was ignorant and unlearned and things of this nature, which is not true. That come from the European. But to think even back then they could come together and work together and be as one. And it makes me think, what happened? What happened to us? Did we fall so far in our thinking? And I know everything began with a thought. So that it have to be. We fail so far in our thinking that we can't even come together and help each other. And you can look around and see every other nationality of people that will stick together except us. But that's gonna change. That's gonna change. And another thing you talked about that I love when you talked about, even with our government here, we always say, like you say, bring your talents to this government. Don't take them out there to roam. Bring them here. Let's work together as a family. It don't matter what you believe, and we got to get out of there. getting mad, falling out about what to call the great God of love. I mean, we got to get out of things like if you can't call him, his name ain't this, and different times and at different times our ancestors called him different names. I'm told when we be doing our studies, I can think of it, say like 99. It's probably more than them, but 99 names that he was called. So let's stop fighting over little petty things, because like you said, we got work to do, family. And if we are gods and goddesses, where is the love? And the last thing you talked about, like being the message that you bring. I loved it when you said that we was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I can remember when I used to be in the church. We used to always say, "Well, I'm walking in love." But if you can walk in something, you can fall out of it. And sure enough, I did, because soon as that old Lord said raise his ugly head, I'm all out of sorts and mad and ready to beat up somebody. And then the next minute I'm back in love. But I didn't know who made me. The great God of love made me. And I didn't know that I was love. I didn't have to walk in nothing. I was it. I was love. I was truth. I was peace. I was free. And I was justice. Oh man, Dr. Shaheed, I tell you, you didn't got me fired up down here. This is a wonderful, powerful class, and I know our Moorish kin want to give their measure. So gratitude for letting me share. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love, goddess and queen. Islamism. Praise be to Allah. All right. Are there any other Moors who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? Where my free thinkers at?
What's on?
All right, we got two brothers coming in at the same time. That means y'all got the same love thought. We're gonna get the brother on the phone, then we'll get you, Brother Marvin. That was Bay.
What's that?
Okay, Islam, brother on the phone line. Islam.
Islam, this is Dr. Baki Bey with the Iowa Territory. As I like to rise and give all men a praise to Allah. Understood the prophet, understand the credit government, our world council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution. Swift angels must please citizens alike. Understand all the Moors that spoke before me, but all the ones who will speak after. And thank you for this class. And this is like you gotta say, this is a powerful demonstration right here, because when we're looking at the unity of the rich and the poor, even if you look at chapter 3, it was talking about your higher self and your lower self. You know what I'm saying? Your higher self was rich with the blessings that you was given forth from the potencies of the Creator, and your lower self was poor because it was the reflection of, you know what I'm saying, of the material world. And so, in that, a lot of people put more emphasis on the outside. You know what I'm saying? When we're looking at our people, a lot more people think that when we're dealing with the rich and poor on the manifest, that we need to have, you know what I'm saying, that we need to actually wait for reparations to come to get what we need to done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm more so looking at it as an aspect that let them do what they do with it. You know what I'm saying? If we get it, but we're more powerful when it comes from the ground up. Everything I had to build from the ground up, I still have. The things that I was trying to, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to say beg for, or have to ask for, or swindle, or whatever, that stuff, as fast as it came to me, it left. So, therefore, I'd rather work hard for, you know what I'm saying, work hard to build us. Because when I look at our Latin brothers, and one got a grocery store, then another one got a trucking to bring the groceries to there. So it's not like we don't have the capabilities to manifest what we need to. It's really effort and direction. You know what I'm saying? And when people, you know what I'm saying, when we don't want to follow the directions, or we don't have direction, that means that we're, you know what I'm saying, we're still in a beggar state. You know, a lot of times you got to take, you know, the props say take this and save yourself. There's many ways to save yourself with this, you know, and we just got to really be able to, you know, get out there and, like you said, teach. You know what I'm saying? But like it also says, as the when the student is ready to teach your welfare. And a lot of times people are so happy with the dramatization of being black. It's almost like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a hurt person. You know what I'm saying? You stay well along with the dramatization of being black and what it comes with, that the freedom of being a Moor is not, it doesn't get you much, you think it don't get you much attention as you being black. Because black comes from a hurt state. You can say slavery, you can say this, you can say that. Well, you hurt me here, you hurt me there. Well, let's set that aside and get to the, you know what I'm saying, more, the Moorish aspect, the Moorish science, and, you know, and not worry about who's, you know what I'm saying, what they got. I don't care what they got. What they got is for them, you know, for their earthly salvation. What are we going to build? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to get our dollar? What monetary system are we going to create? What industries, what system that we are going to create? You know what I'm saying? We have 12 departments. We have 12 departments that we have in our government. We have a flag, symbol, emblem. It's the people. It takes people to fulfill those positions. It takes talent to sit over there and sit down and come up with a plan to enhance those departments. Yeah, we got it here on the call, but where's the rest of the people that's gonna, you know what I'm saying, aid and assist with that portion? You know, and a lot of people well, this ain't broke, so why that? Well, we see that it broke, but we don't want to fix it. And if we do want to fix what's broken in that system, instead of building our own, it'll be more beneficial because it's always running. That's the mentality that I get. You know what I'm saying? That I have been, you know what I'm saying, one-on-one with, you know, talking to individuals. They rather just build, they rather try to rebuild the poison structure of a system that never had their freedom of mind, instead of coming into your own government, your own freedom. They can't do nothing to you. They can't stop you. They can't hinder you. They can't do nothing to you. But they rather have that because it's a trauma that if I fail, I always got a cop out because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather be a Moor all day than be black. Islam, peace and love.
Islam. We give honors to you, brother, for that grand drawing. You know, praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. You know, powerful measure. You know, and yeah, we got to evolve, and a lot of it, you know, is that some of our people want you to build something up, and then when they build it up, you know, well, once you build it up, they basically come in and just sit back and benefit off of the building. Everybody want to see the baby, but don't nobody want to, you know, deal with the labor pain, so to speak. You see, that's what's really going on, brother. So gratitude, grand man, for that drawing. All right, brother Marvin Nathaniel Elvis Bay.
Islam, can you hear me clearly?
Oh yeah, I can hear you loud and clear with divine ears, brother.
Gratitude, man. My apparatus is functioning. Okay, gratitude again for calling on me. Yeah, this is Dr. Marvin Ellis Bay, Consul General of the Texas Consulate, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. I give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. I give high honors to our Act 1. I give high honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to this class, our Moorish Prospectus class, as as well as I give honor to you, Dr. Shedu Aminti Amohetsepsuel, better known on Facebook as Commission Edya Hereford. Um, Dr. Shedu Aminti Amohetsepsuel. Um, I give up honor to everything that's Moorish, our flag, our seal, our emblem, our divine constitution, our Holy Quran, our Book of Ali, our 101s, 102s, or exhument of a nation. All of our divine revelation I give honor. I give honor to the forerunner of our prophet, Dr. Marcus Moshe Gabriel, as well as I give honor to the ancestors whose shoulders we stand upon. We are the return of the ancient ones. I give honor to all those that gave their measures before me and all that will give their measures after me. This is a very powerful class, and and what all of this reminds me of, we're talking about the unity, like the chapter before, the holy instructions of unity. Now we're talking about the holy unity of the rich and the poor. All of this can be seen from a higher viewpoint, so to speak, from the physical to the metaphysical, so to speak. You know what I mean? And esoteric, because each individual more has to grow to a level of comprehension so that he can bring something to the table. We all have it within us, but it's not unfolding. For one thing, we don't have the teachings, not the truth. I was looking on some of the comments. The brother was speaking on about aligning ourselves in the semblance of the European, talking about the FBI and CIA. To liken ourselves to those is going down the wrong path, because we are a peaceful people. If all of our people were to take on the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, like you spoke on, if we live this, because, when we first came on the manifest, that's all we knew. We didn't even call it a religion. We just lived it, you know, because we was one with the great God. And somewhere along the line we strayed. And this is where we ended up. But we are on the return. We are being resurrected. Like in our book, Noble Drew Ali, The Exhuming of a Nation. We are a national people. We just have to come to that understanding. Our people don't even want to imagine, so to speak. They don't even want to contemplate. And that's all we have to do. Just consider it. Ponder. What would it be like? You know what I mean? And then we have to come from within. We don't have to pattern ourselves after the European. Because all of that they brought on the manifest, look how they did it. They stole, they pillaged. You know what I mean? And we're going to align ourselves with that. You know what I mean? And it's not to harp on that so much, but we have to start looking from within. We have a government, the North American government. You know what I mean? We just have to educate our people to that. And we have to put all of our efforts to that. It's not complicated, but it's complicated when we don't have confidence that we can do that we can really, truly build government, that we can really aid and assist mankind or humanity. Because we can. We've been through the worst. You know what I mean? We've been the lowest. You know what I mean? But now all we have to do is stand up. If we stand up and love our brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? Don't forsake our sisters when they're in trouble. You know what I mean? All these things, all these principles. This is what it's going to take. And I'm just so grateful for being a part of this divine and national movement. And when we say divine, we know this is of God, the great God, whom we actually call Allah. But we know that all nations see Allah, see the great God, you know what I mean? But they may have another name for it. But it's the same God because there's only one God. Okay, I got to tell them, I'll call you later. Right. And so it's just so, I'm just so grateful for being here and being in Monster Moors. And I can see how people are waking up. You know what I mean? They're waking up every day. You know what I mean? They're considering, you know what I mean, what it would be like if we all came together. You know what I mean? And we could leave behind that ego. You know what I mean? We have to have a degree of humility. You know what I mean? We don't have to shuck and jive or shuffle, like they used to do back in the day. No, we can step proudly, proudly, but not in an egotistical way. You know, um, so that's what it's all like you saying. The benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. We not we know that seek ye the kingdom of heaven first. And the prophet said it like this: purify your hearts and mind with love, and your body with water. If we do this and keep the prophet out front, keep the principles out front, we can't go wrong. And I just like to say gratitude for allowing me to speak. Islam and peace.
In Islam and peace, brother, Consul General, we give honors to you, and honors to the measure. And I just wanted to shed some light, on our family that made the comment in the thing, because we always want to make sure that we represent, what it is our people demonstrate as they stated it, so to speak. And I see the brother, Facebook user, he was saying there's good and bad in everything. And that's what we are afraid of, the hidden bad of it all. I say everyone is right. And that's the beginning of unity with no argument to be said. I look forward to our God when we form our nation with everyone on board. As far as I am told to, I got to die to see our God. We haven't never seen him in this lifetime, as long as we can't come together. But the moment we become our own government, we will see the face of our God. And it said the only nation, it says without our God, and it says Beck. I don't know what our family, I don't know if they were speaking of the Egyptian concept or, that kind of throw me off. But it says every religion can serve as a part of our government. Then it says, like the governments of other countries, everyone can serve as a unit to protect us in its own way. It will work. For instance, the Muslims can be our Navy, FOI can be our FBI, New Orleans can be our CIA. What I see is what this particular Moorish kin was trying to say, that all of us get in what we fit in, performing and demonstrating our particular job. Something we've been saying the whole while. We said it in the likeness of what they actually are along the way. But, this was that one's vision of us coming together. I don't think one was saying aligning themselves with the FBI, the European, but forming our own construct, so to speak, having our own measuring. We have that here in the Moorish American government. It is just that our family, that are out there have to recognize that, we have consulates, we have different functions within the government. And so these avenues are open for many different aspects. We got the muftis, as our security apparatus, special agent mufti corps, those who are in the different groups and organizations, a couple of different groups out there that have that background of what they like to deal with, especially if they like law. And they should be the legal apparatus, but they ain't gonna be able to do that type of measure outside of the Moorish government. They got to come up under it. So, I give honors to the thought of our family putting that out there, and just wanted to make clarity. I didn't think the one was talking about aligning with the European. I think that they were speaking of, actually everybody being one, but that was their way of expressing it. That's why we always say the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a grand draw.
Islam.
And only pardon self, brother. Let me finish this real quick. And then it says someone gets to take the lead and say, hey, you brothers and sisters. They say, what you doing over there in that group? Bring them all to the round table and make it work. And those that want to work, push them to the Naman's lands and ban them there to God if betray us. Say we have to draw the line between those who go on with us and those. In other words, the one that don't want to go, let them go into the land of Nod, and the one that want to go, but we have to leave behind that mindset and force our people to form this government. And I would say that we just got to be the message that we bring and bring our talents forth together. I see what our family's saying. So we just want to honor the thoughts of our family in Islamism and keep the Mahdic balance, truth and right. Islam. So I hear our brother assistant chairman. You there, brother? Are you still there, present?
Islam, mighty more right here. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Oh yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Gratitude.
Islam, gratitude. Islam, peace and love, more to America. Dr. Kepler, Nubis Rasul, Begum, Mirage, praise the great God Allah, and honor our holy prophet, Noble to Ali, for bringing us everything that it takes to change us a nation, and us taking and save ourselves. Islam, I give honor to our Moorish American government for sponsoring, hosting our Moorish perspective. Our beloved host, our national sister Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadua Menti Muhammad Sexuel, give honor to our red national flag, and the seal, divine constitution of Moorish America, Islam, and I just get right into it. The topic on the floor is a grand topic, grand measure that you brought forth. And as you were speaking about this, we definitely have to understand that Prophet Noble Ali brought us everything that it takes. He brought us our religion, our nationality, and the title to our vast estate. And also, when we look at, our prophet saying that basically, we can lead them more to water, but you can't make them more drink. This makes me think about, once again, that frequency of black and white has that same frequency. It has that same, number, 11. It makes me think about that set mall of Western Freemasonry when our brothers think they're Masons on what they call that master's carpet or those black and white checkerboard. So this black and white has a frequency of a superiority when it comes to that European Western Freemasonry, and an inferiority when it comes to the misnomer Moorish American Nationals, misnomer as Negro, Black, and Colored, Act 6 of our Divine Constitution. So this benevolence that we have that our prophet brought to us, he was the very first to show us this benevolence because, to the understanding, this is the disposition to do good. And that's what our prophet brought forth. He brought forth such a grand act of being a philanthropy, being the bud, the very first bud to show the flower of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the qualities of the God-man and the God-woman on the plane of things made manifest. Because we know well we feed from that native plane, that ether plane, a state of high vibration, because, we all the way out of the fire is through the fire. So we must continue to have the disposition as Moorish American Nationals to keep that light on, to vibrate high, and to feed from that native plane, to feed from everything that the prophet brought and taught. And evermore will be here in our Moorish American government and also within us. Because the grand question, the master question is, number one, who made you? So Allah has placed everything in us that we need, all the qualities, all the principles to be great and to be this Moorish American nation. And so it's an honor and a blessing to be home, but yet it's also an honor and a blessing to know how to bring forth measures, try to help our people decode that mental slavery in them by letting them know that black and white sounds so good and so easy to roll off the tongues because it has that same vibration. And even when you talk about, even when you talk about the ecclesiastical, you got to be about your father's work in your government. That's what it is to be a minister. You see, not an organization, but the nation, government. So all of us, I give honor to all those who spoke before me and all those who will speak after me because our prophet brought us everything. And it's an honor and blessing to be home. Long live Moorish America. Grand class, Islam.
In Islam, gratitude for the measure, brother. Peace and love. All right. Islamism. Want to give honors to all of our Moorish kin that gave their droid, and Is there any other more who would like to come forth? We go into the officials. Before we go to the officials, one more that may be biting at the bit to bring forth their measure. Islam. All right, going once, going twice. Okay, well, you thrice blessed then. Well, all right, at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to call forth our officials. Starting with our beloved Moorish goddess and queen, Sister Alset Amun El. Islam, are you there, goddess and queen?
Islam.
Islam, goddess.
Can you hear me? Okay. Islam.
Oh, yeah, I hear you loud and clear with divine ears.
Gratitude. First, let me rise and give all praises to Allah and all honors to our Prophet Muhammad Ali, honors to our Moorish American government, our officials of our government, and our citizens. Honors to you, God, man, our national assistant grand chief. Dr. Shizu Meti Al-Muhajir Sheftuel, to bring forth a grand Moorish perspective and to open our conference call according to law. Honors to the goddess and Queen Dr. Sainati, Phase 4, taking registration and being a subject chapter of the week. And honors to our Moorish king for bringing forth their grand measures also. I wasn't able to write down the whole subject matter. I just got the first portion of it because I came in right as the line closed. Let me go into my notes. The benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked, and that's all I got. So could you give me the rest of it, man? Please?
Yeah, no problem. It's actually the benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. A Moor rejoices, therefore enriches, and a Moor's joy is blameless. Islam. We pivoting from Ayat 8.
And a Moor's joy is blameless?
That's right.
Okay, Islam. Gratitude. Okay. All right. Okay, so my understanding of the subject matter, and based on what I heard the Moors bringing forward, I'm going to come from the level of consciousness, because that's what we're dealing with here, the lack of or having consciousness. And our people, most of us, because there's 60 million of us, don't really have a consciousness of who they are. And so, as you demonstrated, they think that what they have is all that they need. And so, in thinking that what they have is all that they need, is really are not they really don't have no understanding of what they are missing. That's the word for it. They don't have the understanding of what they are missing. And so, even though the truth is right in their faces, they really don't realize the gravity that comes about from not having the understanding and not knowing who they are. They think that since they're used to taking whatever is given to them, they think that what they have is enough. And they don't realize that they're being spoon-fed bad food, poison, the prophet said. The European food is just plain poison. So they don't realize that they're being fed poison because it's constantly taking us out. That we're perishing for that lack of knowledge. And so once the Prophet wakes us up, that consciousness is what starts us to living. That brings forth the youthfulness in our being, of our being. And so that awakening helps one to have longevity. So when we look at our people and what we've gone through, and you demonstrated, you said no matter, even though we have been through all this Maya, we still bring forth God. And that's because the universe has given, Allah has given us the ability, because we are gods. So even in our ignorance, we're still being protected because He's making sure that the seed is continually regenerating until the prophecy is fulfilled. And so that alone shows the love of Allah, the gravity of that love, that grace, that righteousness. Man, when you think of it on that level, you really realize that we are peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. Not that we have what other people don't have, but that He's making sure that we have exactly what everybody else has. Our nationality, consciousness of it, because He's making sure the European is here long enough to teach us how to run a government. And so, as we wake up, now we could unfold into that nation, that pure and clean nation that the Prophet wrote into stone, that our ancient forefathers wrote into stone, and let us know that it must come to fruition. It must manifest. And that shows the grace and the love of Allah wrapped up in all our 5 divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Because Allah is leading on, victory is sure. Islamism, like people call me for, peace and love.
And Islam, and gratitude for that measure, goddess and queen. You know, it ain't strange. And I'm sitting here, and I was listening to you, and I picked up, you know, this particular book I had got today, you know, dealing with becoming supernatural. And it's actually got a foreword in here by the one Greg Braden that wrote the God Code. And they were speaking on, you know, walking meditation, walking into your future, so to speak. You know, but in one aspect, it was talking about affirmation, you know, and basically when you go into the affirmation that's dealing with your future, in this book, you know, is very powerful on becoming supernatural. It says that the doors of dimension open up to me so that I may experience the mystical. My body is healing every day. You know, these are affirmations ones would state. My words are law. I feel love deeply and daily. Wealth flows to me. All my needs are always met. My body becomes younger every day. The divine appears in my life every day. My life partner is my equal and teaches me by example. Synchronicities happen to me all the time. I feel more whole every day. My immune system gets stronger each day. I lead with courage in my life. I am an unlimited genius. I am always aware of the power within me and all around me. I believe in myself. I embrace the unknown. When I call on spirit, it responds. You know, and so once we're able to think like that, you know, these are affirmations, but we can demonstrate that measure of, you know, walking meditation. You know, we can actually encode the programming that's necessary, you know, to be our gateway when it comes to walking into the future. But we give honors to you, goddess and queen, for that drawing. Gratitude, Islam. So, all right, let us go forth and call on our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Mark Herube, Islam. You there, Grand Man?
Islam.
Islamism without the schism.
Grand gratitude, wonderful class. We rise first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to the only one worthy of those things, the great God of the universe, our Father God, Allah, the most beneficent and the most wise. And we give the highest honors that we can give to His prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government, our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live, according to Act 6. We give honors to the officials of this said government, our divine ministers and swift angels, and our mufti, our royal council, and our secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our holy Quran, our grand national seal, our grand national emblem, our book of fire, the agreement of a nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National, the Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadul Amiti Mehdi Shamsuel, for bringing forth this grand Moorish perspective evening and just giving us that angel food. We give honors to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, and to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. We continue to give the honors where they're due, and honoring all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors as they have come before us, leading the way. And we are them today without a doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. And praise Allah for that. And it's definitely been a grand class, and looking at that unity of the rich and the poor, and understanding how one could be excited about those riches, or benevolent in the understanding of how to go about dispensing or administering the blessings in which Allah has given to one, as far as an association or thought pattern of the rich, or one who has been given wealth. And I think that to me, there's a union in that concept, and as far as the expression of one being excited, as far as we have to recognize that we are bringing forth a nation, that we are the parents of a new nation. We are the energy that goes into the creation of the new nation, because the nation is alive once we give it the energy, the spirit, once we birth it, as one was talking about. And there's growing pains, there's them Braxton Hicks, they talk about those, you got to do all the stretches. There's a lot of work that goes into bringing forth a new creation, to bring forth that baby. And I see that in the unity of the rich and the poor, is that one that we all have must come together in order to bring that ideal into fruition. And then this is what's so important about having a constitution, a divine constitution, brought to us by our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because see, the structure is there. There's already the seed. The seed is already there. We just have to plant it in the fertile soil and give it the energy that it needs to sustain itself in order to for it to have life. And this is where one is talking about bringing forth their talents and their abilities to the collective, because that's what it takes in order to give life to a nation. In order for it to live, we got to sustain it. See, up until this time, and one can attest to this, that
really ones that been bad parents. As far as ones to come in and say, well, I want to be a part of this. I'm a part of this. We're gonna have this. We're gonna birth this nation. And then when they feel like they disagreeing with the partner, which is the rest of the nation, or then they like, well, I want to go on my own and just leave the responsibility of the child that you gave life to, and say, well, now you're a single parent. And the ones express this, and well, okay, now they feel like, well, if I disagree, I ain't Moorish American no more. Now I'm something else, and that's not how nationality works, and that's not how a nation works. And once you give life to it, you're responsible for the life that you give energy to, that you brought forth in creation. This is why we have to be diligent. This is why we have to be understand that it takes the unity of the Christian people. We all have to have that common goal of supporting and taking care of our nation as the infant it is, or the child it is of ours in its infant state. And no matter what kind of disagreements that you may have with your partner, the divine partners that we bringing forth this nation, that none of that should overweigh the importance of raising up the creation, the nation. Like, that should be number one. That should be our focus, every single last one of us, because this is where our freedom and this is where our livelihood is. This is where, as we're talking about, all the benefits is at. And no one should be able to distract you or, deter you from having what's yours, your birthright. But that comes as a nation of people. So that means that we all have to be those who have it and those who don't have it, but still have the energy and the livelihood in their beings, in their hands, and their feet, and their mind to be able to use it towards energizing our nation, towards giving it the life, the food, which is our energy and our talents, so that it may live, so that it may flourish. And we can approach it from that thought pattern instead of like it's all this division. This person do this. No, we are collectively with the one thought, bringing forth the birthing a nation. And that demonstration is the blessing, the prize. Everybody knows when the child comes forth, you get, the innocence, the purity of that demonstration, and the hopes and aspirations and the possibilities of what it could be. Everybody can feel it. Everybody can sense it. Everybody can has that hope for that being, and that's what the same thing for our nation we gotta have. And when we look at it, and when we look at how we play our roles, no matter whether we think we got the finance, whether we got the time, we got to do something to raise it up. So I just wanted to add that part because it's been a grand class in the way that the ones that brought their message for, it's been a total blessing. So gratitude calls forth, and gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us and giving us your time, your attention, respect, love, Islam people.
And gratitude for the measure, Grand Mufti, Islam and peace to you as well. And honors to you and all that you do, honors to the tribe. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. Oneness of the thought is the oneness of the way. Islam. Well, all right. Let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pul, Tutankhamun Bay. Islam, you there, Goddess and Queen?
Islam, closest of thought, gratitude.
Gratitude.
Islam, Moorish can. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, angels, muftis, prime ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors who spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadow Amenti Al-Mohajjed Shepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law and bringing forth this Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Honors also to our National Grand Secretary, South Carolina, Dr. Denbra Nia Kirchabay, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. It's been a grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Welcome to our family online. Our subject matter being the benevolence of a Moor's mind is not checked by fortune. A Moor rejoiceth, therefore, in riches, and a Moor's joy is blameless. And you brought forth a lot of powerful keys, Dr. Shaheen, and when I was reflecting on your demonstration and also what our Moorish kin brought forth, the Prophet let us know that in our unity is our strength. So this is why we learn how to get rid of the ego and come together as one mindset, because we recognize the fact that we have been now provided tools of divinity, because we recognize that evil is not requisite to man, and neither is having a demarcated thought pattern where it's all about the me and later for everybody else. So when we look at benevolence, which is an attribute of the Creator, learning how to demonstrate that love for our people, love for humanity, being open-minded and things of that nature, this is part of our natural state, being children of the Creator, and recognizing the fact that because benevolence is something that is natural to us, when we feed from the ethers of our native plane, then we're here to share whatever talents and blessings and wealth that the Creator has provided to us, to be a friend to mankind, to be aiding and assisting each other, not trying to step on each other as they've often depicted our people as being crabs in the barrel and nothing to be further from the truth. We're here to aid and assist one another and work together. When we look at the various distractions out here, the things that want to put us back to sleep or what have you, we see our nation growing every day. We see our nation unfolding. And we know that it's part of our divine duty to be about our Father's work, to prepare for the future guidance of the nation as our ancestors and forefathers left the keys and wisdom for us to feed upon. So when we recognize the fact that when we run after those things that might be shiny, look good, things that's on a carnal level, things that you see with your physical eye, then if you're not careful, you end up making a god out of it. And the thing about it is, if one has been given everything that you need, all we got to do is take it and save ourselves. It's almost like futile to keep running on those things that's outside of the self when the treasure is within your own self. And when you were speaking about that beggar mindset or that employee mindset, definitely we've got to have a paradigm shift within our own psyche, recognizing that that's not giving energy to something outside of the self that's trying to take you off the count. It's not smart, okay? That's you also participating in your own genocide. So why not put the energy into those things that are going to help uplift not only ourselves, our family, but our special nation and the rest of the nations of the earth. So we've got a divine task here in our Moorish American government, and this is why it is key that even in our bylaws, all Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love. So even in our principles of divinity, we can't allow that to be checked by our own lower selves. So this is why we're constantly on guard, constantly on our post, recognizing the fact that the divinity that we have within ourselves is key, and not let go of that, because that's who we truly are. So gratitude, Moor, for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Islam.
And Islamism Grand National Secretary of the State for that drawing, it don't get no plain in that. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. And since you lit the convex, And I know you just passed that scimitar to my Grand National Chairman. We gonna let him come on down through there and cut through the ethers. Islamism. You ain't gonna be a rat doing nothing on cotton. Go ahead, Chairman. Islam.
Islam. Praise the Lord and honor Prophet Noble Dwale. Extend much honor to Noble Dwale for bringing us everything that we need to save ourselves as a nation of people. Our divine Constitution with its bylaws. I mean, we get a God, our ancient forefather. We got our flag, our principles, seal, emblem. Oh man, we are so blessed, Moors. We are so blessed just to have each other, just to know that we got a holy covenant. We even got a warning to let us know what not to do. It's more, we're just blessed and honored, and it's such a blessing. I count my blessings every day just for being here with you. Because otherwise, I can't call myself no nation by myself. I ain't no government by myself. I ain't got no history. No, it ain't like that. You don't treat no national history by yourself. That's why the first president is who made you. Come on with it now. You know, it's just an honor, blessing more than we're here because we love you. Islamism without the schism. Peace.
Islamism without the schism. That's right, Chairman. Ain't no me without you. That's right. I want to give honors to you for that grand drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. Well, at this time, we want to call forth our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael. Islam, Grand Man. You there, Sheikh? You know, our Sheikh be having some apparatus issues sometime. All is well. We definitely know that he's about our father business. Islam.
I see him on the line, Dr. Shaheed. Brother Grand Sheikh, start fix your phone if you can.
Islam, guys.
Oh, we hear you now.
Gratitude.
Ricky the Clown. Islam. We rise once again to give God a praise. I have honest to his love, though, and his industrious ways. Our prophet number 2 out there became 5 times more powerful to set us all free. Thank you, prophet. Thank you. Thank you for sending our officials and our staff, Grand Mufti, Sister Grand Mufti, Grand Mufti Corps, Divine Ministers, Student Ministers of Life, Royal Council, just a assembly of everything that it takes to have a government run and run right. And to our Sister Grand Chief, this evening's grand demonstration on lesson on the rich and the poor, and how one time you always say, you and I die. And it says that you're looking at the riches that we have by being born into this illustrious nation. You know, we are blessed, and to say the least, wanting friendship with our Moorish kin, as well as those that are of no kin. We know that we come from the same place, our father and our mother, and we're here to travel the earthland, which the Lord our God has given him. Give one person that we grow as a family, and the nature that springs forth from us demonstrating what is up before us upon this earth land. And we're just so elated to have opportunity to I can and see that I can unfold on every stage in this grand civilization we know as Earthlight. We give honor to our sisters and our staff again because this is where we get our lesson at. We get lessons from prophets, like I said, as well as how that one made it for us to be ourselves. He gave us our genealogy back, you know, and we found out who our mother and father is. And just a grand, basically, pick one, can't take for granted. And we say, we love you and love you dearly. Much love. Our more kin. Peace, love, and law. You love each other. It's January 1929. Warning from the prophet. Beware that I hereby inform all they must end all radical and state speeches while they're working on the street. We'll teach them more Americans. Ye are the children of one Islam.
Islam Sheik, if you speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, there you go. Islam, grand man.
Islam. Islam represents, give honors to our prophet for opening up this grand demonstration in 1929 where we can demonstrate our moral self. Honors to brother that gave us the lesson on bringing back the assembly of the gods to this earth land by being in accord with the lessons that our ancient forefathers laid down according to his prophet. Ye are the children of one father, therefore, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you son. At the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity, and prefer not a strength for thy own blood. Thy brothers in adversity assist him. Thy sisters in trouble forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of our Father contribute to the support of this whole race, and this care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially closed according to Act 2 of our divine conscience and love, truth, peace, and go in peace.
Islam. Islam, Sheik.
Grand class.
Is no longer being recorded.
Love you, Morris.
Islam, Moorish King, we give honors to all. Peace and love to our family. Honors to y'all. Islam. All right, we getting ready for Sunday school now.
Oh, yeah.
Islam. And I want to give honors to all of our family out there as well in the media for coming in. Honors to all of y'all as well. For showing up, you know, every week. You know, the best is yet to come. We give honors to Brother Noble Bryan, Yakub El Hamid Gamma Bay, you know, Sister Sakina Ra, you know, Brother Noble Bryan, Gary Miles Bay. Honors to all of y'all, you know, for all that you do. And we give honors to you. And to answer the question, our people say, well, what do y'all think about the Canaan land Moors? Well, they were divine ministers of the Moorish American government originally. So that say a lot. Peace and love, Moors. See y'all later.
Goodbye.
Gratitude, family. We'll see you in the next session. Yes, sir. And we honor you too, brother. You know, for being on the manifest. The best is yet to come through us. Gratitude. Be sure to hit the share and the like and the subscribe, and always make these demonstrations go viral, because we working now to break the algorithm. You know, as far as bringing this truth forth. So Islam, Shemotepu, Ankwajet, Saneb, life, health, and prosperity be upon you all. Peace.